Hello and welcome to another episode of Ashes to Go. I am your host, Redbyrd, and with me is BDLG. Bordy, another night of Ashes of Creation content. I'm loving it, dude. I'm ready.
Yes, sir, man. Every 2 weeks, it takes a little bit of time to get around to these 2-week episodes, but I enjoy doing them, man. So yeah, let's get it done, dude.
At the top of the episode, we want to first go check out our YouTube channel. If you're listening to this podcast, check out the YouTube channel. If you're on the YouTube channel, go find the podcast on Apple or iTunes, rate it 5 stars, have fun doing that stuff. We appreciate it. Let us know in the comments below that you did that, and we'll definitely give you a like for sure, dude. We're farming likes right now, aren't we? This is not a good look for us or for me. Ashes, also our website, Ashes Fans. We're obviously waiting for the NDA to drop to update that website and give you guys a lot of content, hopefully valuable content for you guys for Ashes of Creation. So go check out Ashes Fans as well. You can post your guild if you're planning on having a guild of Ashes of Creation and start recruiting there. We will shout it out on the podcast of our guild of the week. So check that out now. And a special shout out and thanks to the Golden Feather. We had an opportunity to guest star or have a guest appearance. I wouldn't call us stars by any means on their show last Friday. It was a ton of fun, man. On the Twitch account that they have, the Golden Feather, you should go check that account out. They put out a lot of good Ashes of Creation content as well.
Yeah, man, that was a fun show. So yeah, big shout out to them. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So thank you guys. If you guys happen to be listening to this podcast, thanks again for inviting us on there. It was great. And yeah, I echo the sentiment that Red just said. If you haven't heard their podcast yet, for sure, go check it out. They were awesome people.
Super nice
and really
people.
fun. It's super nice. It was an awesome show and we appreciated it very much, man. Had a great time.
Yes, so thank you guys. And dude, we'll make the announcement now, but I don't know if we kind of put them on the spot on their own podcast, which but I think they're going to join us on an upcoming episode of Ashes to Go as our first ever guest.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that'd be dope.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
Absolutely.
So here is the Ashes news that we have for you guys. Obviously, we like to cover this on the show and talk, and Bordy likes to rant about how bad he hates everything. The backer package.
Kind of true.
It's kind of true. Yeah, it has been recently. The new backer package is up, fellas. And here's the thing, dude. And maybe I've mentioned this on the show. Maybe I haven't. My wife has green-lighted me to buy one of these packages. And I've been green-lighted for a long time now. And the problem is, Bordy, I'm having the same problem as you. These aren't my preference. These aren't my preference, And I'm waiting for some death like Warlocky thing to come along, and so far not happening. And this latest backer package is along the same lines, not happening. If you're a mushroom loving person, you're gonna love this. It's called the From the Undergrowth. Now, this is pretty cool as far as the, mushroom, what is the other name for mushrooms?
I have no idea, man. What are you?
Fungi?
I don't know. A fungi? Yeah, I think so.
There you go. There you go, dude. If you like fungus and mushrooms and glowy, look for poisonous things, you should check this out. Overall, obviously the art team nails it as usual with everything. They do such a great job. It doesn't matter if it's not our preference or not. The art alone I can admire. It's really dope looking stuff. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on the Ashes of Creation website under the news category. It's not under the shop yet. It will transition April 7th. So, I guess if you're listening to this podcast or watching this VOD, it's going to be live soon, or it's possibly already live. And you've missed your chance at getting the lustrous cordiality, which we mentioned earlier. Wait, no, the Root of Conquest was the March one.
Whoa, dude. Yeah, you're talking about a previous one.
Yeah, my bad. So if you want your strawberry Swiss cake roll rabbit, you better hop on it, because you may have missed your boat already to get the Romanesque high elf backer package. So hurry right now. If you're listening to this podcast on your way to work, dude, and you want that backer package, you better go buy it, because it's gonna elude you. and that should be at noon today. If you're watching the YouTube video, you're too late. Sorry, you missed your chance to buy that backer package, and now you have the opportunity to buy From the Undergrowth, which is a mushroom thing. The first thing we have here, or mushroom, fungi, poison. The first thing we have here is the Lumalition stovepipe. Now, this is a. Did I butcher that? Probably.
No, you're perfect, dude.
Okay, so this is a hat that has been left in the dirt too long as accumulated fungi. So it is one of the examples of the Wayward Adventure article being discarded in the chaos of combat. This particular hat has grown, weathered, and aged seamlessly, or is seemingly held together now by the fungi that has made a headpiece their home. Alluring light emanates from beneath the caps, stuck to the hat and through ragged, is no less comfortable for its transformation. Now, dude, here's the thing. I don't like the smell of mold, and I feel like if you're wearing this hat, you're getting a big whiff of mold every time you breathe. You know?
I mean, how do you know, dude? This looks like some kind of.
This looks like it's going to grow attached to your head. If you wear it too long, it's just going to grow.
Maybe it's like magical fungi. You know what I mean? It's like it could smell great.
You're talking about like psilocybin or something. You're talking about if you eat these that kind of magic, or are we talking about? Are we talking about?
Yeah, baby. I don't know, man. I don't know. These are not my cup of tea, man. The hat looks cool. The art looks cool. Not something I'm going to be wearing in game, though. You know?
Nah, because you have to buy this if you're going to wear it in game. It's not going to be available to you. The next thing is the pet cosmetic. It is the hefty capling, and it's a little tiny mushroom with mushroomy arms that have no hands. Poor guy. But he looks cool. Again, this is something cool. If I see someone running around with this little pet, I'm gonna respect it, dude. It's a cool looking little tiny guy, for sure.
It's my favorite thing out of the package.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man, because here the next one is the mount, the Dredgehorn. It is a toad. Yeah. A lumbering, yet no less intimidating for it. This massive toad prefers to hunt with its long, sticky tongue. Should this method fail, it will not hesitate to charge its opponent with fearsome horn. It's like a horny toad, but way more like the horn is definitely massive. This particular amphibian has been coursed to serve as a means for transportation, and though effective, the frequent hopping can quickly prove sickening to many riders. Here's the thing, dude. If they're going to stay true to the amphibian thing, this is both a water mount and a land mount. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool. So that could be something, but you got to remember this is just a skin. So it's not like an actual Dredgehorn mount that you're going to be riding around on. So I don't know if this is going to have any effect there, but
how is that going to work? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work, because whenever you have a skin that looks like you should be able to have a water mount and you don't, I don't know. I guess it's just like any other skin. You just know you have a skin on, like just like a costume in other games. You put a costume on, you don't get the benefits of the armor. You just wear it to look cool.
True.
I'm not a big fan of frogs. I don't have a problem with frogs. I'll pick a frog up in the yard and my kids will play with it or whatever.
Morty, this is a
frogs
toad.
Are cool. Toad, frog, it's same difference to me, man. They look the same. Either way, dude. I don't think I'm going to be hopping around on the Dredgehorn. Not my thing, dude. I just don't. I don't know, man.
Here at Ashes of Creation, we accept all species. We don't mean to be insensitive by all the toads out there. Battletoads, one of my favorite games growing up. So we like to keep the respect there. But yeah, I'm with you, dude. This isn't my cup of tea. I'm not like I don't like druids or that sort of magic, and this seems to be in that wave, like a wood elf, wood or forest type theme thing. I don't mind the wood or forest. I just don't like toads. He just looks like a grumpy old man, dude. Mushrooms.
Look at his face. Yeah, mushrooms. He just looks like a grumpy. He just looks grumpy, dude. He looks angry.
Well, it's because people are riding him, man. I'd be grumpy too if people like put a stirrup on me and a saddle and said, "Hey, man, you're my mountain now." I'd be ticked off too. I'd be using that horn to get them off my back for sure.
He doesn't look very spry, very quick. He looks like just looks a little old, little worn, kind of like you, Red.
I mean, I was gonna make the same joke about you. And if we're going to, you know, go to the papers, you're older than me, dude.
Oh, no,
You're older than me. So, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm gonna pull this stuff up so the viewers can see this on YouTube. You know, again, art style's really cool. They did a great job designing this stuff. There's the pet. There's the hat. But just, you know, if you like mushrooms, then it might be your preference, and if you don't, then you know, maybe not the backer package for you. The next thing we have here is the Muscarian Marshalls. I don't know if Muscarian. I don't know. I'm butchering this. Here, it's on the screen.
I think it's Muscarian, maybe. I don't know either, dude. To be honest.
Muscarian. All right, fine.
Yeah, it's my best
this
shot at it.
unorthodox panoply is adopted by a certain brand of mercenaries who frequent the mushroom forest. Cloaking themselves in the flora of their surroundings, they are able to move unnoticed by many of the natural denizens of the forest, as well as they stay hidden from the threats beyond. Needless to say, this is the only effective in the land of towering mushrooms, as the massive crimson cap will no doubt attract attention anywhere else. Yeah, I mean, like, you can't wear this in town. Like, what good is the camouflage? Like, literally anywhere else other than the undergrowth and things. So.
I can't do it, man.
I mean,
I can't do it. I can't wear this on my head. I can't do it.
I respect the people that do, honestly.
It looks cool. Art's cool. Whoever designed this looks really cool. I can't do it. I can't wear a mushroom on my head. I can't do it.
I mean, yeah, I can't either, if we're being honest. Here, let's real quick here tie these up. Hopper's Hall is a toad with a light over there. I think I like the taste there. I love the art design behind the caravan. Obviously, it's like a
that actually looks pretty dope. Yeah. Ties in well together. The toad with the mushroom carrot. It looks pretty dope. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And again, I'm misstated. I enjoy like nature, like wood elf type stuff, but this is definitely in the spectrum of that. And this is probably on the opposite side of the spectrum of the stuff I enjoy. Again, cool art, cool art design. Just not our preference, but it doesn't mean it's not yours. So go check it out. The last one is the freehold building Cosmetic, the Mycelian Mansion. And it is like, as you would expect, a massive mushroom around a mansion. And again, cool. You can find all the different backer packages with these cosmetics and items over on the website. And it'll be available tomorrow or today. I guess today, if you're listening to this as a podcast, and it's available now if you're watching the YouTube video. All right, Bordy. So now, next on the docket here, we have the developer discussion. So now the developer discussion for this week is one that's very important to both me and you, in the vein of MMOs in general, and I think it's really important for the future of Ashes of Creation and the success of Ashes of Creation. Because they can have a lot of these, cosmetics, this cool looking stuff. They can have all these dynamic systems, the node system, the PvP, the caravans, et cetera. But if they don't nail combat, Bordy, I think they're going to be in some trouble for sure. And the discussion this week was about the hybrid combat system. So we're going to go to a link here, and we're going to open this discussion. Glorious Ashes community, it's time for another dev discussion. The dev discussion topics are kind of like the reverse Q&A. Rather than asking us questions about the Ashes of Creation, we want to ask you your thoughts. Our design and team compiled a list of burning questions. The 28th question, in terms of Ashes hybrid combat system, what do you think you'll be speccing your character? Majority action-based skills, majority tab target skills, and an even mix of both, and why? So, Bordy, this is an interesting question to me. Number one, I don't think any of us know if those two systems can coexist in a game. Just because, action tends to be more skill-based. You have to aim your skills and abilities. So presumably tab targeted things are would have a little bit of advantage in that category, right? As far as like ranged attacks and stuff like that. So what's your initial impression of the hybrid system that Ashes of Creation has?
I'm to be blunt, I'm not honest. I'm not honest. I'm not a fan. To be honest, I'm not a fan. That's what I was gonna say, and then I put blunt. Yeah, you get it. Anyway, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of the hybrid combat, man. I'm a big fan of action-based combat. I'm not a fan of tab targeting combat anymore. Back in the day, back in the old World of Warcraft days, whenever I played WoW, and then even moving on past WoW, some of the older games. Tab targeting was fine. That's what it was like in MMOs. You had a tab target based system. You had a tab target camera. It wasn't like an action based camera. I think this day and age, man, I feel like we're past that. I feel like video games in general, and especially MMOs, have started to evolve past those days. And I know a lot of people, I'm probably going to get flamed because I know a lot of people still love tab targeting combat in MMOs, and that's kind of their thing. But I just feel like we got to be more innovative than that, man. Tab targeting is, I'm not a fan of it anymore. I liked it back in the day. I feel like it's outdated. I feel like we need to move past that and just push into some sort of action-based combat system. And maybe hybrid is the answer. Maybe they can put together some hybrid system that's amazing, that appeases both group of people, both myself and people who would prefer a tab target combat system. I have a hard time seeing this work. And with this question in particular, they're asking like, what would you be speccing into, majority action-based or majority tab-based or a mix of both, or why? So different skills, and we already knew this, but different skills are going to be action-based, and then some of them are going to be tab targeting. So it's going to be a very weird mixture. Like whenever you use a skill, if you're trying to play an action-based character, but you have like one or two abilities that are tab targeting, how's that even going to feel whenever you're playing your character? Like how's that going to... It just feels, it seems to me like it's going to feel off. Now, I haven't played it, so I don't know. It just seems odd to me, man. I'm not sure, dude. What's your take? Do you like action-based tab targeting? What's your take on the hybrid system?
Well, I think the most recent combat systems, aside from like their animation canceling and all that, ESO, I think, does have like more of a hybrid
they definitely do
system, where a lot of your ranged abilities are tab targeted. You can't just you don't have to aim your bows, but you still do have to be like looking at your they have to be within your 180 range to be able to land attacks and stuff, which I think is a good balance, honestly, because in action based combat, that's true action that you have to actually aim your stuff, and you get severely punished for ranged combat if you're not accurate, versus melee, you can just run up and just keep smashing your face in with abilities. So I can understand some sort of hybrid system to keep combat flowing. I think ESO does have a pretty good flow as far as me and you did a lot of PvP, and I thought it felt good to to be able to target someone to use your ranged abilities, and then if you get up close, you obviously have more of an action-based combat with dodging and stuff like that. So, I mean, maybe they can pull off the hybrid system. What's odd to me is like this question, how it's formed. Do you think you'll be speccing your character into tab targeting or action-based? And in my mind, like I don't understand like how you could do that. Like, shouldn't it just be like some skills are just action and some are like more of the ranged aimed abilities are more tab targeted, or because if I have the choice and it's a competitive environment, you better believe I'm selecting the tab targeted one, because
it's easier.
I can rely on the damage the damage more.
Yeah, absolutely. Why would you go if you're trying to play competitive? Why would anyone go action based over tab targeting? Because tab targeting, you're going to land all of your shots,
especially as like a mage or an archer or something like that.
Yeah, and it is worded odd, like speccing your character into action based or tab targeting. But maybe they just mean choosing those skills. Maybe they just mean, are you going to choose those skills? I don't know. It is worded a little bit odd. As well, which is it kind of throws you off a little bit whenever you read it. But I think they're just meaning what skills you're going to choose on your bar. And I would imagine that some of the abilities are going to be tab targeted, some of them are going to be action based. It's just weird to me, man. ESO is probably the best example of some sort of hybrid combat system, and I did enjoy the combat that works. Yeah, that works, and I did enjoy the combat in ESO whenever we played it. I had a lot of fun in there. But
Guild
ESO's
Wars 2
combat
is another good example, I think, of a hybrid system as well. You have a lot of abilities that are like AoE, and that you know, forward facing cones and stuff like that, and yet you can have a target selected.
Yeah,
well.
true.
Yeah.
I didn't play as much Guild Wars 2 as I did ESO. Played a little bit of Guild Wars 2. But it does have something similar, I guess, but that didn't get added until much later. You know, they added the action-based camera, I think, in an update later on. I don't think it was with the game whenever it launched, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just on the fence, dude. I'd rather see it go one way or the other this day and age. I don't know. I mean, ESO is, you know, pushing several years old. You know, that released in 2014.
Right.
So, you know, it's 7 years old now. And I think they just celebrated their 7th birthday or something, I think. But either way, it's like, I would like to see some innovation. I know Ashes of Creation is doing a ton of innovating things there with the node system, and it's a huge undertaking, but why not innovate even further with the combat system somehow? But then again, like, what do you do with the combat system? It's either action or
I was going to say, I think they're trying to do that by allowing players to choose between your tab target.
Some sort of hybrid system.
Right.
Yeah, but maybe they're trying to be too innovative in that area, you know, like combat is, man, it's sticky. It's very important to the overall success of the game.
It has to be good. Yeah. No matter what.
Whether you're a PvE player, a PvP player, or a crafter or whatever, still most of your time, the majority of most players' time is going to be spent in some sort of combat, fighting mobs, fighting players, doing something. And I think that's true for any MMO. The combat is like one of the pillars of the game. You got to get it right. So I don't know, man. Some of the feedback that they posted was pretty interesting too, so that they received from the community, I thought.
Yeah. I think so. You know, and again, these discussions are not only important, I think, because it's important as Ashes of Creation very open to suggestions. And as a community, I think it's good for all of us to kind of sit down and discuss this and really fill this out, because it does feel like they're on the fence about this thing. And honestly, if I was going to say one thing like is questionable about Ashes of Creation plan, and I think it is this combat system, and that kind of worries me a little bit, because I know how important combat is to MMOs, and if combat doesn't feel well, if it doesn't feel fluid, then it can really just make your entire game experience bad, because you're constantly, like you said, you're constantly doing something that doesn't feel good, because combat is the most important thing in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of comments, the top comments, they kind of broke them down here on this post, and a couple of them for action-based. You know, one of them says, those who plan to focus more on action-based skills shared that their choice was at least partially due to hard CC and higher damage abilities being available, risk versus reward. So apparently, you know, that is going to be a thing. And I do remember them saying something about that back in the day. So, you know, if you choose action-based, it is risk versus reward. You can hit harder or have harder hitting CCs, longer stuns, longer duration with action-based versus tab targeting. So maybe you'd want to spec into those if you're really good at the action-based combat. And that might be pretty interesting if they go that route. I still find it very weird, though, man. I find it odd to do that. So now you're going to be able to land every skill as a tab targeted person. They're just not going to be quite as effective. So you're playing handicapped, basically. I don't like it. I don't know. I can't get it in my mind how that's going to work. And maybe it'll be better once I play it versus just seeing all this on paper, but who knows? One of the other ones said others who preferred action style combat highlighted that it felt more engaging and skillful to them overall, which I can 100% agree with that. It's kind of why I prefer action based combat too. This kind of hit the nail on the head for me. Like, I enjoy more engaging and skillful combat versus just sitting there and mind-numbingly going through a rotation of my abilities. You know, like a lot of MMOs, you sit there, you have your rotation, you stand in one spot, and then every now and then you'll dodge out of an AoE ability or something. I'm talking about like a PvE situation here. You'll dodge out of an AoE ability, you'll go through your rotation, move, go through your rotation, move. And it's like, dude, you can sit there and literally do that in, you know, half asleep. that's not fun to me. I don't enjoy that. I want to be engaged in the game that I'm playing, and I feel like action-based combat provides that in spades over a tab-targeted system. So that's probably my biggest complaint about a tab-targeted system, and why I feel like that's a thing in the past, and we need to move past that and be more engaged in the combat and the game in general and what we're doing while we're playing versus just half AFK, farming dungeons. That's not good gameplay to me. But some people really enjoy that, so we'll see. And those who plan to focus more on tab targeted skills show their preference for more accessible and less reactive gameplay, especially when it comes to healing. So what's your take on that? Like healing, Red? You have to have some sort of tab target in healing, don't you?
I mean, there's only one game that I know of that didn't go that path, and it was Terra, I think, and it was just extremely difficult to heal in that game. And I don't know, like, again, I'm okay with the hybrid thing as long as, like, again, healing is a great way to implement targeted based, combat, because, it's important as a healer to be able to target, ESO, their main ability was like auto targeted. So basically you just cast the heal and it magically finds the people who need it. And they were criticized for, healing being too easy in that game. So I think there is a nice balance there. It's interesting, Bordy, because a lot of these conversations are centered around making the action-based combat risk versus reward. And dude, like it's going to come down to the point where there's going to be a select group of players that master the action combat. And then
they're going to be OP.
Yeah, and then they're going to be OP, and your tab targeted people are going to be obviously very upset that they chose.
They're not going to be able to compete.
Right. Yeah. They want to use tab targeted combat, but they cannot compete with it. So then that begs the question, like, why have it to begin with? Maybe those people don't care about PvP, but then again, they probably care about PvE, and those action based players who master the action based system are going to be doing more DPS. And I know that there's a big discussion around not having meters and not, but dude, always without, and I think it's important to not neglect this, because it's always true. You will have a group of players that want to be optimal, and it's usually a pretty big group of people. And I don't like the conversation that says, well, we should just all play nice and we should all like forget about the meters and just have fun. Realistically, it's not realistic. Like, I respect the conversation. I think we all are trying to have fun, but I personally have fun doing a lot of damage, and knowing that knowing that I'm like one of the better damage dealers, or I'm one of the better healers, or I'm one of the better PvP players. Like, that's just who I am as a player. I like to compete. It's like something that I find fun in video games, to put myself up against other players. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think there's a lot of people in the MMO community that feel the same way. So I just, again, you look at the advantages of having the action-based combat, and I think that eventually gets into a dark area.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And no, I don't think you're alone at all, man, because I think a large portion of people play MMOs for that reason alone, is to compete, to try to get better at the game, because it's more of a hobby at that point than it is sitting down playing a single player game. You play through it, you're done. You devote a lot of time trying to get good at the MMO and evolving your character and evolving how good you are, evolving your play style. Even in ESO, that's kind of a casual game, you all the time hear people going out and trying to parse to get their DPS better and even casual players are doing this stuff in there all the time, just trying to constantly improve, even though they're not like sitting there for 8 hours a day pounding away at their keyboard. Every time they get on, they're still trying to get better and improve at the game, and people try to do that. So it will be interesting to see how that's going to play out with these people who are just going to grind away and get really good at action based versus this tab targeting and their DPS being so much higher. Or will it be like, what are the risk versus rewards going to like? What is the reward going to be if you're full action based versus tab targeting? Like, how big of a discrepancy are we talking here? That's going to be interesting to see. And I haven't seen anything on that. Have you?
No, I have not seen. I think that's something they have to continue to work on throughout the testing, for sure. And and it's just interesting to me, Bordy, because that is something that could divide the population too. The tab targeting versus action based skill selection, and they're gonna definitely need to do some work on this. And that's obviously why they do these discussions, right? Is to get the information, how the community feels about these certain topics. And I think this is a really, really important one, Bordy. I really do. And it's going to be interesting to see how they execute this system because I think it's, vital to the game's long term and maybe even short term, right? Because once they drop the NDA, then everything is visible to people thinking about playing the game. And, if they see that the combat isn't very fluid or doesn't make a lot of sense, I think that can hurt the the appearance of the game, or the appearance to the audience at least.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It will be interesting to see where they go with this, but I do respect the fact that they're out here being transparent, trying to fish for answers while it's still in development. They're not just stuck on some system. They're trying to fine tune it, trying to get it right, and I think they will. Right? Like I think that it's going to be a fun experience overall. I think they'll get it right. I think combat's going to be fun. I do worry about the hybrid thing, and especially whenever you have the discrepancy between doing more damage, just high risk, high reward system. I see a lot of problems with that. But hopefully it'll be all right. There's one comment here that says that they want to be tab targeting for sure. It says so, and then it says, if I wanted to die while missing skill shots, I'd play a MOBA or an FPS game.
Yeah.
I do prefer my AoE skills to be action oriented though, which is kind of funny. And I think a lot of people may take that approach, but then it's like, that they're going to fall in that category. Like they're afraid to miss the skill shots, so they'll never fine tune those skills to be hitting those hard CCs or those hard hitting shots. And so whenever they do come into an encounter with PvE or something, or PvP, excuse me, they're just going to get wrecked by somebody who's mastered those abilities and those skills, or at least that's what it seems like. I mean, a hard CC is pretty powerful in an MMO, especially in a PvP situation. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Yeah, for sure. And then you're right about the DPS meter, man. I think people are gonna parse no matter what. They're gonna go find some mob to parse on somehow. And then you're going to have these people that are kind of hardcore about running these dungeons or raids or whatever. They're going to have you come parse on this boss. And if you're all action based combat and you're doing a lot more DPS and have hard CC, they're going to bring you in versus somebody that's tab targeting. It's going to put you at a disadvantage. If you're trying to compete at a high level, you're going to have to go action based. Is what it seems like. So it'll be interesting, man. I don't know what's going to end up happening with it, but it's I'm excited to see how all this plays out and where they finally end up landing with the combat.
Yeah, and to your point, that's usually what happens in games that don't allow like actual DPS meters. Is they just find like a standard out in the world, like we're going to time you and how long it takes you to kill this boss. You have to kill this boss solo in under 3 minutes or whatever. I mean, like it just it always happens. And I respect the desire to play in a more friendly, all-inclusive environment, but I do think that if you get caught up in that, then you will generally hurt the game overall, because it just goes along with this discussion. There's many others. The tab targeting versus action combat thing. Hopefully, it doesn't become that sort of discussion. Whether like if you want to be optimal, you have to pick action. Hopefully, they figure a way to just include both in the overall combat system. And like you said, and like that commenter said, like AOE's splash, selecting a circle on the ground to hit underneath somebody, a cleave, those type of action skills mixed with like your ranged abilities being tab targeted. I think that's great. I think that's fine. And if they do land there, then I think that's perfect. Because again, like you said, if you want to land a CC in an AoE, then you have to use the skills. Everybody has to use that action combat. And then if I want to shoot someone with a bow and arrow with the basic attack, then it's tab targeted, and I think that's fine too.
Yeah, which is why ESO's system works, right? Because
Right.
it's not, they don't have any kind of risk versus reward, tab versus action thing going on. Ashes, this combat, I've never seen a game try this before, which again, I was saying innovative earlier. I guess you were right. They are trying to be innovative, I guess, because I haven't seen an MMO try this. ESOs, you are all on a level playing field. It is kind of a hybrid system, but you all play the same way. All your skills that are tab targeted are tab targeted and action, but it's all the kind of the same, and it's not near as hybrid as what Ashes is talking about doing. So it's a little bit odd. But before we wrap this up, I want to run this one by you, man. I think this comment's pretty interesting too. This guy says, with the hitboxes being used for action combat, how are you going to tackle the character size problem? So like the hitboxes being a generic size or scalable hitbox depending on your character's height. So how would that work too? Like if the hitboxes are scalable based on your character's height and action-based combat is really strong, then you're going to have all these people running around with these little characters. Everybody's gonna scale down the really short characters.
Yeah,
man.
and that's been a historic problem in MMOs, yes, as well.
Yeah.
Hitbox sizes and stuff like that. So.
But then if they do have generic hitbox sizes, then you could just aim way over their head, over a short character's head, and still hit them, which is odd to me too in action-based combat. Like you should be aiming at your target. So I don't know. It's weird, man. They've got a lot of issues to tackle for sure.
Well, they don't have races that are. I mean, they have dwarves, which are like I guess half the size. But I mean, in that sense, I think you have to have a generic hitbox for all races if you're going to do like a hybrid system or action-based combat, because like you said, then everybody trying to be optimal will be dwarfs, and
yeah,
and
but it's weird. You can aim a foot over the dwarf's head and still hit them. I mean, it's
it's weird, but it also
it's fair. It's the fair way to do it, but it's odd.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting, man. We'll see how it plays out. It's gonna be a fun journey to watch.
Yeah, it's a good discussion, and if you want to see the entire discussion over there on the Ashes website, they have the dev discussion posted. So go check that out over there. All right, Bordy. So let's go into the Ashes fans Guild of the Week.
Yeah, man. The Guild of the Week this week is Moonlit Dawn. So they are an English guild. Their focus is PvX, size 1 to 25. They are currently recruiting. So they have a little blurb here. It says, lost at sea. One's metal is tested in search of answers. The stars, the night sky serving as outpost to salvation. All that's left is to look forward towards the never-ending horizon. The imminent dawn guiding you as the stars fade with the darkening moonlight. The Moonlight Dawn welcoming in a new day of wonders. Pretty dope, man. Pretty dope little intro there. So it says they're a newly established guild for Ashes of Creation, and they're looking for like-minded individuals to grow their ranks. It says that they have previously played Black Desert and Final Fantasy XIV, and so they do have experience running a guild, but they are just now starting Moonlit Dawn for Ashes of Creation. And it says they want quality over quantity in terms of members, all inclusive. They have a zero tolerance policy towards anything crazy going on in their chat or in their guild. They have a no pressure environment. So it's kind of a casual guild, it sounds like. The requirements, you have to be 20 plus years of age. Sounds like they want a mature guild going on here, be an active member within the community, and you have to be willing to follow some basic community guidelines. And of course, we'll post all of their links to their Discord, they have a website, and obviously to this post on ashesfans.com. All the links will be posted in the description on the podcast and on the YouTube channel below.
All right, and we thank you again to Moonlit Dawn for using Ashes fans to promote their guild. We're great to have you, or it's good to have you over there. Bordy, that about does it for this episode. Again, we will wrap this bad boy up. If you made it to the end, thank you. Don't forget to hit the subscription button, the notification bell on YouTube. 5-star rating on the podcast application that you used would greatly be appreciated. We thank you guys for all your support that you've given us over this, what's episode 22, dude. So, I mean, we've been doing every 2 weeks now for a while. So we've been doing this for about a year, dude. About a year, 4 more episodes, and we'll hit that mark.
Yeah.
Bordy, we have anything else to say to tie this podcast up in a nice little bow?
I don't, man. I don't. I think we're good.
Wow.
That's it.
All right,
Yeah,
guys. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much again for listening and patronizing. That's not how you say that, is it? Being a patron
No.
of the podcast, listener, a watcher.
What?
And we'll see you. You said you had nothing to say, Bordy. You need to mute yourself now. You okay? Listen, I'm trying to tie this up here. Yeah, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in another episode of Ashes to Go.